In the small town of Willow Creek, nestled between rolling hills and the winding river, there was a park where a grand willow tree stood, its branches sweeping the ground like a curtain. The townsfolk often gathered there for picnics and quiet moments, but to some, the tree held a special significance. Lena Parker had always felt a peculiar connection to the willow tree. As a child, she spent countless afternoons beneath its shade, reading, daydreaming, and listening to the rustling leaves. The tree became her sanctuary, a place where the world's noise quieted, and her thoughts could roam freely. Years passed, and Lena grew into a young woman with the same curious spirit she'd had as a girl. She worked at the local library, a quiet job that suited her well. She loved the smell of old books, the feel of pages beneath her fingers, and the stories that transported her to different worlds. Yet, despite her love for stories, Lena's own life felt strangely devoid of the magic and adventure she found in her books. One crisp autumn afternoon, Lena found herself drawn to the willow tree once more. She brought with her a novel she had been meaning to finish, but as she approached the tree, she noticed someone already sitting in her usual spot. A young man, perhaps a few years older than Lena, was leaning against the tree trunk, his head tilted back, eyes closed, and a soft smile playing on his lips. He looked so at peace that Lena hesitated to disturb him. But the man opened his eyes just then, and their gazes locked. "Sorry," Lena stammered, clutching her book. "I didn't mean to intrude." The man smiled warmly. "You're not intruding. I'm just enjoying the afternoon." Lena nodded, feeling a little awkward. "It's a beautiful day." "It is," he agreed, his voice calm and soothing. "I've always loved this tree. It feels like it's alive, don't you think?" Lena's eyes widened in surprise. "I've always thought the same thing. It's like it has a soul, a presence." The man chuckled softly. "Maybe it does. My name's Will, by the way. Will Grayson." "Lena Parker," she replied, sitting down beside him. "Do you come here often?" Will nodded, his gaze drifting to the tree's swaying branches. "Whenever I need to think or just be. This place has a way of calming the mind." They fell into a comfortable silence, both of them watching the way the sunlight filtered through the leaves, casting dappled shadows on the ground. For the first time in a long while, Lena felt an unspoken connection with someone, as if they had known each other for much longer than a few minutes. Over the next few weeks, Lena and Will continued to meet under the willow tree. Sometimes they talked for hours, sharing stories about their lives, their dreams, and the little things that made them who they were. Other times, they sat in silence, content to simply be in each other's company. Lena found herself looking forward to these moments, her heart fluttering at the thought of seeing Will. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon and the sky turned a soft shade of pink, Will turned to Lena with a thoughtful expression. "Do you ever wonder if we were meant to meet?" he asked, his voice barely above a whisper. Lena's heart skipped a beat. "I've thought about it," she admitted. "It feels like we were, doesn't it?" Will nodded, his eyes reflecting the fading light. "There's something special about this place. About you." Lena blushed, her pulse quickening. She had never felt so connected to someone, so understood. It was as if Will could see right into her soul, and the thought both thrilled and frightened her. As the days grew shorter and the air cooler, Lena and Will's bond deepened. They began spending more time together outside the park, exploring the town, sharing meals, and discovering new things about each other. Lena found herself falling for Will in a way she hadn't thought possible. He was kind, thoughtful, and had a way of making her feel like the most important person in the world. One chilly afternoon, as they sat beneath the willow tree with a blanket wrapped around them, Will looked at Lena with a seriousness she hadn't seen before. "I need to tell you something," he began, his voice tinged with hesitation. Lena's heart tightened. "What is it?" Will took a deep breath, his eyes searching hers. "I haven't been entirely honest with you. There's a reason I came to Willow Creek, and it's not just for the peace and quiet." Lena's mind raced with possibilities, but she said nothing, waiting for him to continue. "I'm here because of a promise I made," Will said slowly. A promise to my grandfather. He used to live here, many years ago. He told me about this willow tree, said it was a place of magic and healing. When he passed away, I felt lost, like I didn't know who I was anymore. So I came here, hoping to find some answers, some peace. Lena listened, her heart aching for him. Did you find what you were looking for? Will smiled softly, reaching out to take her hand. I found you. Tears welled in Lena's eyes. Will. He squeezed her hand gently. I've never felt this way before, Lena. You brought light back into my life, and I'm so grateful for that. But there's something else I need to tell you. Lena's breath caught in her throat. What is it? Will hesitated, his gaze dropping to their joined hands. I have to leave soon. My work, it's taking me far away, and I don't know when or if I'll be back. Lena felt as if the ground had been pulled out from under her. Leave? But, why? Will looked up, his eyes filled with sorrow. It's something I have to do. I wish I could stay, but I don't have a choice. Tears slipped down Lena's cheeks. Will. I don't want you to go. He pulled her into his arms, holding her tightly. I don't want to go either. But I have to. They stayed like that for a long time, clinging to each other as if they could somehow stop the inevitable. But deep down, Lena knew that their time together was running out. In the days that followed, Lena and Will spent every moment they could together, cherishing the time they had left. They laughed, they cried, and they made promises they both knew might be impossible to keep. And when the day finally came for Will to leave, they returned to the willow tree one last time. This isn't goodbye, Will whispered as he held Lena close. Lena nodded, her heart breaking. It's see you later. Will smiled through his tears and kissed her, a tender, lingering kiss that held all the love and longing they couldn't put into words. And then, he was gone. Lena stood beneath the willow tree, her heart aching with the loss. The world felt dimmer without Will by her side, and the days stretched endlessly before her. But she found solace in the tree, in the memories they had made together, and in the hope that maybe, one day, they would meet again. Months passed, and though the pain lessened, it never fully disappeared. Lena continued to visit the willow tree, feeling its comforting presence as she had so many times before. And as the seasons changed, she began to realize that the love she and Will had shared would always be with her, no matter where he was. One spring morning, as Lena sat beneath the willow tree, she heard a familiar voice behind her. Lena. She turned, her heart pounding, and saw Will standing there, a suitcase at his feet and a smile on his face. I'm home, he said, his eyes shining with tears. Lena ran to him, throwing her arms around his neck as he lifted her off the ground. They kissed, a kiss full of all the love and longing that had built up over the months apart. I missed you, Lena whispered, her voice choked with emotion. I missed you too, Will replied, holding her close. And I'm never leaving again. As they stood beneath the willow tree, the branches swaying gently in the breeze, Lena knew that she had found her forever. The tree had brought them together, and it would continue to be a part of their story, a symbol of the love that had grown between them. And as they held each other, the willow tree whispered its approval, its leaves rustling softly in the wind, a promise of a love that would last a lifetime.